Well, on his first day in office, President Trump wasted no time in addressing California's water crisis by signing the memorandum titled "The Putting People Over Fish, Stopping Radical Environmentalism to Provide Water to Southern California." So we are very pleased with the President's strong actions on that in many fronts yesterday and look forward to working with him in the administration on that. Now, it did say Southern California, and as a representative of Northern California, like, what? What are you doing, Doug? But what we actually want people to understand, due to stories like this is Lake Shasta up in Shasta County, just north of Redding, holds 4.5 million acre-feet of water when full. It's part of the federal project known as the CVP, Central Valley Project, built in the 30s. We have an opportunity to raise it 18 feet, add 600,000 more. That's a different story for a different day right now. As well as the other projects we have around the state that hold a lot of water. Lake Orville, right near my home, 3.5 million acre-feet. So the President wanting to have water that is already available, useful for other Californians, instead of being lost or not stored to begin with. I appreciate that directive because you know what? We have plenty of water in California that falls on the Sierra in rain and snowpack if we would capture it. Instead, we have the situation year after year. This poster, it's a bit dated, but it's the same thing year after year, shows how much water is being lost out through the Bay Delta. You know, we have this massive flow in this particular timeline. 7 million acre-feet came in. We're losing 6.5 million acre-feet because they're just letting it go out. It's not helping the Delta smelt you've heard about. The Delta smelt they can't find anymore. They do trawls, they can't find it. It's gone. Even with all the extra water that's been pushed out since 1992, it never did help the smelt. So maybe too much water actually drowns the fish or something. I don't know. So we don't need to flush that much water through the Delta, even to keep saltwater intrusion from coming back up and affecting some of the Delta. We need to be trapping that water. We need to be saving that water for San Luis Reservoir and for crops that would be helpful in the San Joaquin Valley. Also, when we talk about Southern California, my colleague just talked about the horrendous fires down there. And so this is a reservoir right near Pacific Palisades, which burned to the ground. This reservoir, had that been full, they would have had enough water to last several days instead of just the few hours that their hydrant system had. That's what it looks like full, more or less. That's what it looks like empty. It was empty. It had been empty for nearly a year. What kind of management or planning is that? They don't even tell the fire department that wasn't full at the time. They're supposed to be doing some kind of repair on it. Probably could have been done in a couple of weeks. Instead, they're putting out for bid and this and that. Probably their local staff could have done it, they say. We lost that opportunity to trap. Get this, it holds about 40 acre-feet. I just showed you how many hundreds of thousands of acre-feet go out through the Delta. You could fill that up in minutes if you could somehow channel the Delta into that. Yet, this is what you get. So instead, we would have the opportunity to have those reservoirs full, have Southern California have what it needs, and also let's not forget the San Joaquin Valley, which President Trump knows a lot about, to grow these amazing crops. So many of them come from down there, as well as my part of Northern California, to feed the United States and even the world. These products, when I show you these percentages here, these are percentages of crops that come from California that Americans use, not just Californians. And so if we don't grow them in California with all this abundant water we have, then where's this stuff going to come from? Where's this food going to come from? We're going to have to import it or do without it. It's like, well, maybe we don't have mandarins anymore. Maybe we don't have avocados anymore. You know, we'll just eat something else. Why? We need to have these choices and we have the ability to grow them because we have plenty of water when we trap it. Even in drought years, there's still enough water that comes down. So with that, the management of water supply is also tied back to fire management. And unfortunately, what my colleague was talking about, the horrific fires in Southern California, this is some of the brush that grows on the hills above those areas. It's a pretty arid climate down there. We know that. But if we're smart about it, we can actually be removing this brush and make it, if fire does happen, it's just burning weeds at a slow pace instead of driven by the Santa Ana winds at a high rate of speed. 80 miles an hour, you can't beat that. Firefighters can't beat that. Do their best efforts. They got to try and at least make a line of defense at the city. But when it's flowing over the top of them like fire does and like happens in my district all the time, it's humanly not possible. This is how we stay ahead of it. Removing this brush. In the timber areas, like in my district, that burned a 1 million acre fire one time. We can be removing brush, we can be removing dead trees and small trees. We're still leaving the forest, but it's a thin forest, it's a managed forest. So instead of empty promises being made empty-handed by Gavin Newsom time and time again, saying, oh, we're going to do something about the water, we're going to do something about the fuel in the forest. No, he isn't. He's dragging his feet on seeing the water supply built in California. He needs to be directing his people on Water Commission, directing people on the Water Control Board to make things happen, to build these projects expeditiously as possible, instead of like, oh, just trying to slow down the lawsuits. You know, we need to do this to scale. We need to do this with speed. We're tired of the empty talk, Governor. President Trump is leading the way on his first day, showing a path forward on helping our water supply, on helping our forested areas, on helping the people of our state at home and our country to have what they need. So no more empty promises, no more nonsense. Get out of the way, Gavin Newsom. Let President Trump, instead of putting aside $50 million in the legislatures, what they're talking about, to fight Trump, and they want to tie that to state aid for Southern California for fires. Talk about conditions. We hear conditions a lot around here. Oh, no conditions. You're making conditions on the state legislature to tie $50 million to fight Trump with lawsuits.
Gentleman's time has expired.
For state aid. I yield back. Thank you.